Lord. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition. Get off the damn fence. We appreciate you all tuning in tonight. As you can see, we are a little bit behind, a little bit on time, but we're happy to be here tonight. And I'm happy that you could join us here. Brother Calvin Thomas, Justin B.A. the Barber Harris. Gentlemen, how y'all doing?
We
building delay.
Man, we live in high definition.
Yeah. As you all can see, I'm on the road tonight. So I don't have access to all my typical graphics and things of that nature. So we going old school. You know what I mean? We just having a show. You know what I mean? Well, thank you all for tuning in. This should be fun. But we got a lot to cover. We didn't have a show last week. We couldn't go 2 weeks without having a show. So there's some things that we definitely want to go over tonight. And we're going to be kicking it predominantly. Not going to be QB in the night. You know what I mean? I'm going to kick this over to Calvin and Justin to control the conversation. But there's been a lot going on in the world of sports that we have to talk about. And I'm going to kick it off with, first of all, we have to start what's been going on at ESPN. Man, Ryan Clark, let go, fired, done away with. Man, what a decision made by the network. Many people are tying it to comments he's made in the past. Many people are saying that the right hand writing was on the wall when he got into it with Peter Schrager. But I want to take this and make it a macro conversation because this sports media podcast game, content game, commentary game has really taken a turn over the last several years. We went from the years of Skip Bayless being on First Take to going to Undisputed with Shannon Sharp, and we know how that ended, to these podcasts and the players actually taking the power into their own hands, starting their own platforms to be able to talk about whatever they want to talk about on their terms. And now terms are being dictated to them. We can touch on Gilbert Arenas and his decision to move on from Underdog. And now he's signed with Playmaker, where Shannon Sharp's podcasts are, Shaquille O'Neal's podcasts are. It's basically like a form to actually a vehicle to deliver the podcast and make sure you get paid for it, but they still have ownership of their own content. Then you got Ryan Clark, who has the pivot, who has something to fall back on a show where he's able to say whatever he wants to say, but he's still working for Disney during the day. And now we've seen Cam Newton let go as well, who has his own platform. And news coming out that Pat McAfee about to get signed to the biggest deal in sports media content history. So all of that being said, the question is, where are we right now? We know what Draymond Green is doing with his podcast and the controversy that demands. We talked a couple weeks ago about Rich Paul and Max Kellerman on their podcast talking about insider things. Should Rich Paul be allowed to have a podcast talking about things because he's an agent? I mean, it's just so much been going on, and we in the NBA offseason, NFL offseason, but the talk is still much alive about these sports and things surrounding them. So I'm going to kick it to you first, Calvin. You can take it any way you want to go. As long as you want to go, then we'll kick it to Justin after that. What's your thoughts on all of this what's been going on with ESPN cutting ties because they're not making the money they used to with the network because people have cut the cord? So a lot of people are streaming and not subscribing to cable. Mm-hmm. So ESPN is not as profitable as they used to be. So you're not going to pay for as much at a high profile things. But at the same time, you're talking out both sides of your mouth. When you pay,
let the man talk. How long was this intro?
I'm setting it up because I'm not going to talk for a long time. So I want to get my point out. But at the same time, you have a Stephen A. Smith you're paying all this money to, and possibly a Pat McAfee. What's your thoughts, Calvin?
Look, first we got to understand some things. First of all, with some of the layoffs that have happened at ESPN that seem to be annually at this point on occasion, and where they stand with some of the individuals, you're getting rid of your whole baseball section with Carl Ravage. because we know ESPN's been done with baseball on Sunday Night Baseball. Going to the Ryan Clark piece, he fell out, like you said, with some of the cast at ESPN, particularly, and also with Stephen A. We go to Cam Newton, who's had his differences with Stephen A. ever since he appeared on. I don't know if he appeared on it or he had Jason Whitlock on his podcast. Whatever that interaction was, that led to the downfall of Cam Newton at the network. And then we come to Pat McAfee, who will have this large contract. But what we need to understand is ownership. Pat McAfee owns his production. Pat McAfee pays his guys and for his production and all that stuff out of that money that he's receiving from ESPN. No one else has that type of contract. Not Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith's you added your second device.
Go ahead.
How can he? It's a big ass echo.
Yeah.
All right, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're not. Jesus Christ.
I was trying to set up my background, but go ahead.
I lost my train of thought.
I'm on the road, folks.
Pat McAfee's show is he pays his production. Going back to ownership, Stephen A. Smith doesn't have the ability to own his production company through ESPN, similar to what Pat McAfee does. So his own podcast that's politically based is through SiriusXM, in addition to his daily radio show through Mad Dog, who regularly appears on ESPN as well. So it comes back to ownership and what can you do for the company, and they view it as Pat McAfee could do more because of the product that he provides through College Game Day, through traveling on that weekly show, through his regular daily show as well. So we have to look at it from that aspect. But I think Pat McAfee is taking the right way. When you have this playmakers partnership as well, where you have all these athletes coming together and putting their platform on playmakers and receiving publishing and having total control. And we see what happened. Go look at Gilbert. When we go back to Underdog and how they forced him out of his own show and essentially turned into the Skip Bayless Show Part 2 because they thought that would drive more revenue, and how he had to fight and to get his show back, and it won't even start again until next month. All that encompasses, look, you need ownership in what you do, and you need to show how valuable you can be. Pat McAfee found a way to do it. He was able to do it even better than Stephen A. I'm not saying he's more valuable than Stephen A at ESPN, but he's shown an avenue to get what he does. And now they have to release so many people because they have to pay Pat McAfee to continue to provide odds, or the odds that they think they're coming. You've had failed relationships with UFC and currently with WWE, and now ESPN doesn't think they're going to make the same money that they can from those streaming networks. You have Disney with their own streaming network that they brought together with Hulu, and they're just sending money out everywhere. And ESPN has just been the main network that has had to wrangle in costs because of so many failed relationships. And I think that's part of it. So it goes many different ways. I don't think this is the end of the ESPN layoffs, but I also just add, and I'll throw it to you, Justice, but I just want to ask this question. So like the Marquis brothers and Gilbert, are they not employees? They just make regular appearances. Do they count as employees as well?
Who?
Like the Marquis brothers, Marquis Morris, and I'm sorry, the Morris brothers. I'm sorry,
The Morris brothers
and Gilbert Arenas, because they regularly appear on ESPN on First Take. So are they not employees as well?
They're contributors.
I'm about to say, yeah.
Okay.
I think Cam might be an employee, but I
Cam
think
got fired.
He was.
Cam got, not Cam Newton, Cam Ron.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I think he's a contributor.
Okay.
So I can take it. So I think people like that. So when you say contributors, I think they are starting to take over the salary employee guys. So financially, why would I continue to pay? Like Ron was only getting 2.5. I'm not saying that's significant. Cam Newton was getting $2 million. I think one of the ladies that got kicked removed, she was making like 1.5. So there's a window of people where, as though I think they finally realized people aren't watching ESPN for Ron Clark. They're watching ESPN and Ron Clark happens to be on it. And I love Ron Clark. Let's not get it twisted or nothing like that. But it's just like our brand is our brand. And yes, we might got one, maybe two guys that's their own brand in which we want to be a part of. Stephen A. Smith, Pat McAfee. we're going to give them bread. Like, it is what it is. But everybody else, once you make a certain amount, you can be replaced. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, do you sign? Of course, you want to constantly get money. So you go to the negotiation table, you want to take as much as you can get. And then once you realize you pretty much signed your own expiration date. So, you know, when they offered you $2 million, like, of course I'll take that. Well, if you would have signed for $500K to $1 million, you would have had maybe another 5 or 6 years of getting that. Who knows? That's all negotiations at that point. But they're going to continue to do that. It's a brutal business plan, but it's a business plan nonetheless. When you're saying these people don't make the show is the show, and they just happen to be on it. And like you can constantly go. And Cameron came on. It was a breath of fresh air. Like, people love Cam.
A breath of
fresh air is that's your side. That's your side. See, that's that vacation Wi-Fi. So with that being said, I just think it's brutal, but it's a formidable business plan in which once you make a certain amount, it's pretty much saying that you can't be replaced. And that's just what it is, and that's just what I'm saying. So next year will be another round of people. Maybe the Kendrick Perkinsons of the word and stuff. We don't need you. We could find another one. We could find another guy. And the thing is, these are all most of them are former athletes. So guess what? It's going to be another crop of former athletes that's trying to get on, that went through the schooling and did all those smaller things and so on and so forth. And here you go. Take this $1 million. Be happy with it. And they're going to be happy with it because it's more than what they was making. So I just think that's just the way it is right now.
Yeah, I really think that this is really the way of things for the basketball portion of ESPN. To me, I was shocked that weren't more basketball people laid off after the NBA season, because at the end of the day, ESPN is relying on inside the NBA with Ernie, Kenny, and Shaq now. Why do you need Kendrick Perkins and all these other talking heads who they don't be on the post-game shows? They don't be on the pre-game shows. That's not the people want to tune in and see. I was shocked they got rid of Ryan Clark because he won an Emmy. He was just nominated for another one this past, 2 weeks ago. Like him, Dan Orlovsky, that's like the 18 for them. So that to me tells me this wasn't just about, we need to cut some money. Either he went in there asking for far more than they were willing to give him, and it was just like he got to go, or something. The controversy just, look, y'all can call it what I want, but if you pay attention to the media landscape of this country, Trump has a major impact. We saw the Jimmy Kimmel thing. We've seen it happen with Colbert, like stuff happening at CBS. The deal that's being made right now for Paramount to purchase WBD, that is all impacted by this administration. So if you look at it, and Andreas Hale, y'all might not know that name, but if you watch and follow boxing like I do, follow MMA, follow wrestling, Andreas Hale is a Black reporter who covers these sports very closely for ESPN, has been a great contributor, tremendous, wrote some great articles, but he also went at some of the things that I'm sure the administration wouldn't have liked. And who was on one of the lists for this week? He was very critical of WWE on ESPN during his articles. And of course, ESPN is in bed with WWE. ESPN is in bed with TKO. He was critical of them putting Conor McGregor out there a couple weeks ago, and even wrote an article about it. He wrote an article about the Janelle Grant and Vince McMahon's lawsuit, and went at it a couple weeks ago. All of a sudden, he's let go? Your best and your only wrestling, MMA, and boxing reporter? Clearly, some of these decisions were impacted by this administration. It wasn't just a money call. And I think you can put Andreas Hale, Ryan Clark, people like that, Cam Newton. Look, I heard Stephen A. I heard what he say. He went to bat for Ryan Clark. Did you ever hear him say anything about Cam Newton?
Oh, but that
did you ever hear him say? Of course it was. It was never repaired after that. Yeah. So Stephen A. can say all he want to say, but he act like he the big boss at ESPN. That's how he be talking. But when your boy job on the line, you ain't got no say. You can't pull a string. You can't put a foot down. I'm not gonna lay it all at his feet, but let's keep it a buck. Nah, I ain't gonna just let you skate on that one, Chief. Anyway, it's weird, Calvin.
I mean, he didn't do it for Molly either, so why would we expect? And he worked with her longer than anyone else that you named, maybe except for Ron Clark. So
I think he quietly wanted Molly gone. That's the reason. Molly kind of annoying.
You might can say the same thing for Ron.
Taking too much of his shine.
Yeah, you getting Emmys and stuff like that. Your own podcast is doing numbers and stuff like that. People still watch the Pivot. Any one of those shows that happen to fall over the years.
It needs to happen more frequent though, like the once a week, every other week. But I mean, maybe you have the time now, but I don't know if that was a scheduling thing with ESPN.
He got plenty of time now.
You got time now, and he gonna be on just as much as Shay.
But that's my point. How many of these athletes, and I think that's what ESPN be banking on, once they lose that ESPN moniker, how many of them actually still stay at a high level? The only one I can think of is Shannon. Shannon, the only one out there right now with no major network backing, who's still pulling numbers, who's not like doing his thing. You know what I mean? Everybody else, they need that ESPN rub. I think Ron Clark might be that next guy because I think he might link up with Jamel Hill. That's what rumors about that. Jamela doing nothing since she's been off ESPN. She has been doing zero. Like
she's been doing something, but nothing significant.
She's got her own podcast because she got a podcast with Carrie Champion, right?
Numbers. And both of them try to hang on to a string. I'm talking about like pulling numbers, like really, like once you lose that cachet of being on ESPN, you just become one in the ocean. You know what I mean? So that's the thing I'm working because there was a lot of great analysts in ESPN history. Remember Merle Hodge, Ron Jaworski, what's his name? The dude that used to play for the Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer was a great analyst for ESPN. They had all kinds of great talking heads over the years. As soon as they leave ESPN, you don't hear nothing about them. RG3 was doing his thing for a while. That's what I'm saying. They find you another one. That's how they do, man.
They're just retired as well. And you do this at this point where
Brian Clark was a nobody.
Your NFL. I'm sorry. Your Amazon Prime. Your NBA. I'm sorry. Your NBC coverage. Your CBS. Everyone already has their team set up for the upcoming season, and that starts in 6-7 weeks. So now you're just out there hanging, and next thing you know, it's next off season when there's a new crop of freshly retired players that come out. And you kind of get pushed to the back for a fresh new voice or someone that's played in the league more recently. So it's terrible time for Ron Clark in general.
Yeah. Let's move it over to Gil's Arena because news been breaking on this week. Rashad came out, was on a podcast. I think he was on with Mo Williams. No. He was on with Lou Williams. And he was telling his side of the story. And he was saying some stuff that I knew Gil wasn't going to take lightly. So all of a sudden, Gil went on Mellow podcast the other day. Lord have mercy. Opened up the whole clip yesterday. Man, I listened to that today. I was like, golly. There was stuff we kind of knew or we suspected, but I thought they was legitimately, I thought they was all like playing some type of gimmick and Rashad was just going to come out on a new show and they was going to play it up like he'll, you know what I mean? Like on some, nah, man. Rashad legitimately was a goddamn trying to undercut Gil on his negotiation. And he took away his leverage. And what I found interesting is Gil never mentioned Kenyon Martin. He never mentioned Brandon Jennings. But they was there the whole time too. So I'm a little, I don't know. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Justin? I'll start with you.
I gotta hear fully what Rashad had to say. I didn't know that he had gave his side. I did listen to most of the of what Gil said on Mellow Show. But I can
Rashad talked first. Yeah.
I can piece together what Rashad said. It ain't like it's nothing crazy. As in I understand him. If you watched him for the last 3 years or so like that, you understand certain things about Rashad. I guess two things happened. One, when the North Carolina crew all went against him, that's like people, especially in frats and in college and stuff like that, you tend to stick together. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when the whole team was against him, I was like,
yeah,
that should have been like
something
red
about
flag to
you.
Gilbert. That means like he might be the one out your crew in a sense, right? To turn coat in a sense. So if that happens, then like Gil shouldn't have been shot by it. You know, like he had shown that. I know they was talking about like how he was quitting or whatever like that, and some things got blown up, and I don't think they should have. But I just like how Gilbert changed the game, and he realized the writing on the wall. He started to make calls. He started to do A, B, and C. And he got picked up by playmakers. So that was a good look on him. And he said it. He said, "Yo, hey, don't worry about me. Like I got it. Like trust and believe. Like I'm coming back better than ever." And I was the way when he said it. You know, some people just say that just to say it. I believe him. I believe what he was saying. Like he had enough conviction versus like, I don't know, I'm still working on some things and all this other stuff. Like he ain't go that route. He said, "Yo, I'm already good." Josiah's going to be with him, and that's who I was kind of looking at. Like, yo, hopefully Josiah gets picked up because he is a great moderator. Because these dudes got their own egos and all this other stuff. Yeah. He's definitely the glue guy. And you know, and the other three, I guess the other two, I should say, because he already signed. I think Lexi going to be on there too. So Lexi Brown's coming back. You know, the guy that King and Martin put on blast publicly. You know, he said, he said, you know, it was King and Martin and Rashad was going back and forth talking about Gil. So you know, maybe Gil doesn't want that public smoke, but I don't expect to see King and Martin too much. You know, I think King might be coming to him, and that's just that. And Brandon. You know, I think they got love for Brandon Jennings. It's just, you know, he was a part of that initial.
He's not entertaining.
Yeah.
He's not. He was just one of the first ones to say yes to stay committed. But at the end of the day, he might have a wild take from time to time, but Brandon Jennings, he's too quiet. You know what I'm saying? So
he adds nothing.
They can replace him. They can replace him with Pat Bev for a half season. You know what I mean?
And I think it's already happened.
So. You know, it's just Rashawn McCants just showed you through his history, through the people that he was dealing with and all these other things that he's maybe not the one to be trusted. So if Gilbert did trust him, that's on Gil, and he ate it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know all the back end negotiations and things that were going on prior to Gil talking about it, and even him being at Fanatics Fest, Fan Fest last week.
With the whole playmaker crew was there.
Yeah. But when he brought out Nick Young, I didn't expect him to be there. I thought he was still in the contract until September, so I didn't know he can physically be there. But I guess as long as they're not talking about negotiations, it's okay. But I didn't expect
no, they all got fired.
I don't know. I thought they were still I thought they still couldn't negotiate with him until their contract was up, though.
No, they all got fired. They have no contract.
No. But I thought it was still
unless it's a no compete.
Yeah, I thought it was no compete until September. That because he had talked about it on. He went on Stephen A's. It's a clip with him and Stephen A. And he was breaking down with Stephen A. And he says he's had no contact with them, and he can't until their contract is up. But that was before the show got canceled, and they shut down all of their operations. They shut down all the podcast operations. Yeah. That was the whole point. Nick Young is there. Well, I think because if you watch the show, everybody knows the comedy is Gilbert and Nick. Like Young, they the comedy. Yeah. Rashad is the controversy. He always the contrarian. Yeah.
He always going to go against the grain.
Yeah.
And to me, the reason why you don't need Brandon, he a co-signer. You know what I mean? Like he's not gonna.
He's easily replaceable.
And when he brings an original idea, it's stupid, it's outlandish, it's like, and then he doesn't expound enough for it to be anything. And then Kenyon, I really think you don't need Kenyon, man. Kenyon is like he's grumpy. He repeats himself. He think he always right, and in a way where he's condescending about it. But then if you challenge him on his career or something like that, then you got a problem. So. You could easily replace Kenyon Martin. He's not even that good of a talker.
I wanted to see
I think they'll
DeMarcus on
be
there.
fine.
I wanted to see DeMarcus on there.
I thought Boogie was good on there.
Yeah. But
he signed with FanDuel, I think. I think he with FanDuel. I've seen him on shows.
He's on CBS Sports, and I think it's FanDuel.
Yeah, it's FanDuel.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one with Michelle Beadle, right?
Yes.
And Udonis Haslem. UD on that. Yeah.
I thought UD was on Amazon, but okay.
I think you do both. But yeah,
okay.
I think it's just so many. Look with that. We talk. It's so many people with platforms. Rashad will be fine, but I never trusted this guy ever since that North Carolina thing came out. Like, man, there it is right there. Then the whole Tony Allen interview where he tried to turn it on Tony Allen, the out the mud thing. Like, come on, man. Like, every time you bring up real facts, it's hard to take this guy serious because he wasn't nothing in the league.
Yeah.
Come on, we know what you was at North Carolina. Then you got people at North Carolina undercutting what you said you did there. So what really were you?
When Felton? It was Felton, right? Raymond Felton. Yeah. Here in this week, when he came out and started undercutting stuff on this pod, and like it did paint him in a good light. And he was already an unlikable person on the pod as well. So it just made you hate him even more. And then you had these outlandish takes, and then you go like the Kobe stuff, and it didn't sit right with a lot of people. But it brought eyes. Eyes.
That wasn't good. That wasn't good. But we'll see. I just think Gil gonna land on his feet. I'm glad for him. It would be nice if he could do some crossover stuff with the big three from Nightcat, because they be doing like triathlon events and stuff like that. If they could pull that off and they had some, us versus them, because I thought that Jeff Teague's podcast was on the same network, but I think because Shannon left the volume, so they no longer under the same umbrella. So that makes sense. But Shannon got what's his name, Joe and
Joe
Debo,
Chad, and he got the comedian,
but he got the football players too from dude from the Steelers, and the Browns, Joe Hayden, and
James
Harrison, they under his umbrella too. So Shannon building his little empire, but like I said, I like to see them do some cross-pollination type stuff, and I think that'd be good. But yeah, this media game, we in this space, you know what I mean? We try and grow our stuff. It ain't easy, you know what I mean? And it's very crowded. So I get it. A lot of the people who get a lot of views, they reacting to gossip and stuff that's going on, you know what I mean? And that's what sells. That's what people click on. You put the right headline out there, people gonna click on and want to hear about it. So Gil be feeding them though, boy. He will throw out some subliminals. He will give you a little breadcrumbs, but I was stunned. He went on Mello podcast and opened up the whole clip. He went to work. I'll give him his. Hey,
I was surprised he did that on Mello's podcast. Like, you know what I mean?
What did you think was going to happen? It had to happen at some point, though.
It's a lot of other venues.
I thought you would give somebody on your own platform.
Yeah, I would have thought you just had like episode 1. Here you go, and let that go viral.
There you go. Or put it on his own channel now and get his numbers up some more. He built a new channel.
But now you have people that went to saw 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, and now their eyes are going to be focused on Gil's new venture. So now you point the eyes to the new venture.
That's true, too.
And you can kind of start fresh from there instead of retreading what happened, everything that happened back at Underdog. So
yeah, that's a good point. All right, but that's just some off-season news that's been happening. Let's get to the NBA, because LeBron James is still sitting here as a free agent. Willie Walling, what is going on? Calvin, where's LeBron going?
I change my answer every week. I heard the rumor that, I heard two. One, the rumor that he was going to announce it at Fanatics Fest, and then the whole Adam Silver wanting wanting to do the schedule and kind of pushing them, rubbing them the wrong way. Don't know how true that is. And also the Miami YouTube leak in regards to they were supposed to have a big press conference on Monday, I think, that to announce LeBron's coming back. I don't know. The only thing I'll say is I'll take what he said at Fanatics, which he said he told his daughter he won't be around as much this year because he won't be playing in LA. So I'll take that to mean you won't be playing in Golden State either, because this is a 45-minute flight back and forth between San Francisco and LA. I still think it's Cleveland and it's Miami and then it's Philadelphia. I think everyone is trying to make a move to appease LeBron to make him want to come there. I think the pieces dangling out there is Kyrie Irving. If you're Cleveland, if you're Miami, can you get James Harden? Does that make a difference when Cleveland already has him? And I think Philadelphia is just trying to convince him that we can win. So I still think it's Cleveland, Miami, LeBron, and I still think it's a 2-year deal. He's playing 2 more years, but I don't know if we get an answer before the end of this month. But I think at this time, it's whoever makes the first move, and I think that's going to be Cleveland. I think they're the most desperate to regain the headlines, especially in the Eastern Conference, where you can kind of say after the Knicks, it's up for grabs.
Okay. Justin, what you think?
Since day one, I said Miami. All I did was just get more credence to the fact that he's going to Miami. Shout out to that Miami guy that probably got fired.
He definitely got fired. He definitely got fired.
So, hopefully you bounce back somewhere. But it's Miami. It's going to be Miami, and there's no other spot for him but Miami. It's the best of both worlds, offense and defense. And he's familiar, and it's Miami. It's Miami. So, yeah, that's where he's going.
All right. I think he's going back to Cleveland, man. I really do. It's just something.
Two Cleveland and a Miami.
Yeah.
This week is Cleveland for me, yeah.
I just think
it'll change next week. It's
something about a storybook ending that I think is just luring them there one way or another. Again, I would love to see him go to Miami. I thought that was probably that was his best play for me, other than 2011 finals. But I just think Cleveland, it just makes the most sense. It does. But we'll see. We'll see. That Mac has earned the right to do whatever the hell he wants to do. And I'm tired of people trying to rush him. I'm tired of people trying to make it seem like he need to be on their timeline. That man has earned the right. If he's washed, like everybody has tried to tell us for the past several years, that this guy's washed up, he should be able to walk in at training camp. I mean, you know what I mean? Like he should be able to sign whenever he felt like signing. Oh, he's a big domino, so other people can't make moves until he makes it. If he's washed, if he's nothing, like y'all keep on trying to tell us he is, and he's 41. How old is he? 42? I can't even know. 42 years old. He should be able to come in and sign at the All-Star break. I mean, what difference do it make? You know what I mean? Like he's not a contributor. Some people try to tell it. So why y'all so fixated on when this man want to sign if he's nothing? Clearly, that's not true. Clearly, the man still has enough left in the tank that he can help any team that he goes to. So I'm just tired of the bull crap. Stop talking out both sides of your mouth. When he makes a decision, he'll make a decision. And he's earned that right. Also in NBA news, we have to look. I understand, the world has changed a lot with this. The gambling is so accessible. You know what I mean? You can gamble on your phone. I'm in Vegas right now. It's just the way the world is, guys. Like, we got another scandal coming out about executives and people betting on games and wagering and people who might have inside information, influence, and play. At what point is enough? Like, how can you crack down on it completely? Because even if you don't do it yourself, if you got the information, you could tell somebody, even if they're not your family member, a close friend, an associate, to put your bets in for you. There's no way to actually completely shut this down. So I don't understand how anybody's getting caught this day and age, because how are you that stupid to actually be the one who's doing the betting yourself? But What's your thoughts on all this? And then more and more of these scandals just keep popping up. I'll start with you, Calvin.
It's easy. It's the accessibility. It's the fact that I don't think I'm going to get caught, and it's the fact that I can, as no matter who I have associated with me, that I can place these bets through. Everyone gets greedy, and you keep going. You don't think you're going to get caught, and that's the case. Why is it that there are an NBA coach that we talked about last year, in Chauncey Billups, someone directly influenced with the game that gets caught gambling? Why is it that a players like Malik Beasley, who you're making millions of dollars, but you're gambling for hundreds of thousands of dollars? That doesn't make any sense. That's hustling backwards. You have $1 million contract, but you're gonna set somebody up to gamble to make $20,000 and $30,000. That doesn't make any sense. Why? Why you're mortgaging your future, your $1 million contracts, like I said, for thousands of dollars, and it's a power structure. It's a fact that I can get more. I can get more than I have, and even though you're risking everything, because all it takes, because the league will put you off the drive if they think you're going to influence the game, because you're not going to affect the contract that they have with television networks, with all this gambling sites and casinos, with their advertising. So they're going to leave you out to dry. So why do you think that you are bigger than the game and you won't get caught when everything on your phone, every casino has multiple cameras, every text message that you send, every phone call that you make, there's a recording of it. How do you not think that you're smarter and bigger than the program? And that point is greedy and it's stupidity at this point, that you're going to toss out millions of dollars for a couple $100,000.
And it keep happening. That's crazy. Justin?
It's not going to stop. That's just what it is, right? It's just the way of the world. You just have to get better with policing it. And it's just as that simple. Cheating in sports, let's just say steroid use.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do? They got better with testing. That's all they did. You get better with testing, and you just keep doing it, and you add stuff to the list, and so on and so forth. You might get one or two people, but the majority of the league, you can feel is safe. I think this is very similar when it comes to this. You might not necessarily have regular eyes, like, maybe us. We can't monitor this type of stuff, but you hire agencies, because if there's a place for something, there's something that's going to fill it. A business is going to fill it. The place is private investigating organizations, their habits, things of that nature. And you can, just let them do it. Let them use AI, use whatever you can, and you can just come up with stuff like, hey, you spent such, and then all of a sudden you took a dip this particular month. What happened this month? It's just that. So yes, you might have to pay for it, but you pay for what you pay for the product. You want a clean product. If your product is making billions, then that's just something that you have to deal with. You know what I mean? If you're a celebrity, you making millions, you gotta increase your security. That's just something that comes with it. So I just think it's as simple as that. I know I'm making it very simple, but that it's legitimately that simple. You have to pay for your problems. That's it.
Yeah. I get that. It's just, man, y'all, it's really, I think it's going to ruin, something's going to happen. It's going to really mess up the integrity of some type of playoff matchup or something where it's going to call into question, did somebody do something on purpose to actually cause a team? I'm sure it's happened, of course, but it's going to really be brought to light, because we've never had the accessibility to gambling like we have now. Like, for instance, they could put a geo blocker on your phone where you can't bet in certain states and stuff like that. At some point, they're going to start putting geo blockers on professional athletes. Like, you're not even, your devices, anything that's registered to you is not going to be something that you can even do. I think that's how far it's going to have to go. But like I say, nothing's stopping you from having a handler or somebody connected to you placing bets for you, and you just give them information and you take your cut. I mean, it's really no way around it. It is what it is.
There's one way around it. I'll take that back. There's one way around it. You got to have a guy like Shohei got, because you can't tell me Shohei wasn't gambling and his guy just took the fall for him, but he's loyal. If you want to call that loyalty, he took the fall for Shohei.
That's crazy. That's the league, though.
Oh,
they're not losing Shohei.
You can't lose Shohei, yeah.
No, that's the league. Come on. Yeah. Let's be real. If that was a low-level guy, that doesn't happen.
Out of him. Yep.
You know what I mean? So, Speaking of baseball, man, before we get into the NFL, we got to go to the Orioles, man. Look, we talked about the O's a couple weeks ago. We said they need to make a run. They were sitting at basically the same record they had right before the All-Star break last year. They went on a bit of a run right before the break. They came out of the break pretty hot. Right now, they 3 games under 500. They won yesterday after losing in Boston a couple games, but they bounced back yesterday. But at the end of the day, the AL East is tough. I mean, look, you got Tampa sitting at the top of the whole entire American League. You got New York and Boston. Boston went on like a 13-game winning streak or something like that.
I think it was 15.
Yeah, and the Orioles snapped that yesterday. But overall, I get it. It's a bad record, but the AL it sucks this year. So right now, the Orioles are 3 games back of making it the playoffs. Like 3 games back of a playoff stint. And they have so many injuries. If you look up and down this lineup of the people who are missing, I think Adley Rutschman just went out yesterday on 10-day DL. Then you lost. It's like every other day they're losing somebody else. But this team is scrappy. They're hitting. The pitching has improved. We are critical of the pitching, but the pitching has been keeping them in games here lately, and they got a legitimate ace. I've been liking what I've been seeing. Calvin, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts on the Orioles?
Yeah, and even so, they like you said, they extended 2 of their pitch. They extended Bars earlier the year. They just signed Dean Kramer to I think a 5-year deal as well. So they are legitimizing this pitching staff. Like you said, Adley was out. I think his still in the IL is retroactive back to like the 19th or something, so he can come off early next week. But Basayo's been out as well. Like the injury bug just bit them again. Like they had a nice little run. They had a nice 7-8 game win streak going into Boston. They were able to snap that 15-game win streak, and they come home this weekend and play Atlanta. So they still have a chance with the trade deadline right around the corner. We'll see what type of moves they make if they're interested in trying to upgrade the roster, or if their rumors are correct. And I've heard more and more chatter about them possibly trading Rutschman, with him being a free agent after next season. And they just feel as though the value is there at this point, even with the Basayo there, and you can get value at in the outfield, and also possibly even bringing Manny back, which is something I've heard of as well. As long as San Diego takes some of that money, so their options are on the table. They're playing more consistent baseball at this point. Like you said, the pitching has been the highlight of this team. Offense has been up and down, but the pitching holding team to 3 and 4 runs a game. Now, if you're only scoring 2, of course you're losing, but the pitching has been outstanding for like the last month or so, and they even invested in this pitching staff as well. So I'll give them props from that end, but we still need to get better with the hitting and more consistent. And also say, before I turn to Justin, I'll say this. Can we please stop saying we need Gunnar to step up? Gunnar has been consistently what he is, and that is a slightly above average player. He has never had a season as a superstar. He has never had a season as a star. Let's stop saying we need Gunnar to play like a superstar, and let's saying we need Gunnar to elevate himself to a superstar. Because if he has not played like a superstar yet, in my opinion, we're going back 2 years and saying he had a good first half. What happened in the second half? We're going back to last year saying he started off injured. That's fine. If you have expectations for him, that's fine. But let's also say he has never played like a superstar. Let's stop saying he needs to play like it, and let's say he needs to upgrade himself to that. That's all I got.
I'll have a lot to say on that. I'll respond later. But Justin?
When it comes to the Orioles, let's just get one thing straight. They're not making the playoffs. Let's just get that out there. Let's understand that. I don't care if it's 3 games back or whatever. The fact that you have the Yankees there, the fact that you have Boston there, and it's probably like another team there because it's 3 of them. It's like it's too much of a jump in order to get to that point. But with that being said, we can still perform and give it a shot, right? I have no quarrel with that. Let's do that, and then let's see what happens, right? I don't want to get my hopes up high, and I'm not. I'm just going to be as realistic as possible when it comes to the Orioles. Like you said, the injuries. The one person that you didn't name was Blaze. Blaze Alexander had he had a great tear before he ended up getting hurt right before the All-Star break, in a sense, right? So it's like, we got a lot of stuff to still battle through. And the more people get hurt, the more I say all the time, You got to let some of these guys go. Adley Rushman should have been one of the ones to let go. He should have been one of the ones. And everyone said no, and all he does is get hurt again. He's going to get hurt again. You get rid of him while he's hot. That way you can get most for him. But we scared to do that, right? We scared to pull the trigger. I get it. This is Baltimore. Who knows if we can get talent like that back? I get it. I understand. I'm not mad at it. But at the end of the day, something needs to be done, or else we want to keep saying the same cycle over and over again. You got good players. Some of them is not. If they're injury prone, it's time to get rid of them. That way you can stay healthy longer, so we can perform better when it comes to these type of situations. That's my problem with the Orioles right now. That Gunnar take is trash, Cap. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
two seasons ago, he was damn near batting 300. You know what I mean?
For the first half.
For the whole year, he ended up with 281. That's not bad.
Yeah, for the first half, he was over 3. He was over 310. And the second half, the whole team fell apart, including Gunnar. I'm just tired of people saying we need him to play like the superstar he is. He's never had a full season like that. That's all I'm saying.
But you want him to be, though. Like
I want him to be.
He's positioned to be. Like
I'm not even gonna say his position to be, because we keep talking about potential. He has the potential to be it, but he has to fulfill that potential. You can't keep living off potential in your 5th and 6th year in the league. That's all I'm saying. At what point do you look? I didn't say that. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying
keep him.
Yes, I want to keep him.
You try to keep superstars.
You try to develop them.
Okay. But is he a superstar?
I think he is a superstar.
What are you going to pay him?
You're going to pay him what the market dictates.
The market dictates him being a superstar.
Okay.
Then he's a superstar. If the money telling you that he's a superstar.
It's the difference between someone thinking someone's a superstar and someone actually playing like a superstar. That's my point.
Okay, who's the best player on this team right now?
Basayo, Pete Alonso.
And who's playing the best?
Is not doing anything.
Who's playing the best? I would have said Blaze 2 weeks ago.
I'm talking about like right now. Who you think you're saying Gunnar is not doing what he's supposed to do?
Adley Rushman was the best player on his team until he got hurt.
I agree with that. Adley was hot. But Alonso, that was the big offseason acquisition, right? He got 21 home runs. That's nothing.
He got the most home runs and RBIs on the team.
Yeah.
Taylor Ward is a better batting average. So when do we talk about and Gunnar has what the second most errors for his position? Like, I'm not saying he can't be a superstar. All I'm saying is let's stop talking like he is a superstar. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't talk like that. But the thing is, when you build a team like this and you need odds and ends and this part and this piece, you don't go out and get big free agents. You went out and get Pete Alonso. He's supposed to deliver. He's supposed to be that guy who comes in and gives you that boost to add to what Gunnar can do. Now, if you're saying Gunnar's not living up to his end,
you're right.
All right, but he's also battled some injuries as well. It's not like he's been there the whole year. So we're going to give other people grace for that. I'm just saying, get some more support for your guys and build around them. I'm not blown out of the water from what I've seen by Kobe Mayo. I'm not blown out of the water. Like, these guys don't impress me. You know what I mean? Like, so if we're going to criticize Gunnar, we got to criticize everybody. And you just want to get rid of Adley. I get it. Adley actually shows up. You know what I mean? Like, for what his position is and what you ask him to do, I think he's consistent. Do I want more power? Do I want more home runs from a Cowser if he actually was on the field? Yes, but we're not getting that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking up and down this lineup. If you Basayo with 46 RBI, 20 behind Pete Alonso, what can I do with that? What really can I do with that?
He also doesn't play every day though. So
who does? I mean, this team is not like an everyday team. I'm just saying, like, again, I'm looking at it more the glass half full than glass half empty, because I've seen some positive things here down the stretch. I like to go on a 10-game outlook. I like to look at the last 10. What have you done over your last 10? Now, until they ran into this little rough patch against Boston on the rain delay game, I think they lost the first game, then they had the rain delay game, and then they won the second game on night 2. They had a nice little run there where I think the Orioles had won 6 or 7 in a row.
So,
you know what I mean?
So let me ask both of y'all this question. If I asked you how many people on the team will have a batting average better than Gunners, how many would you say?
3.
Justin?
4.
Probably 6.
But
Like,
how many games are they playing? That
I'm
matters.
going off at bats. I didn't go off of games. I went off of at bats because of course
Gunners got 422 at bats. The next closest is 384 for Pete Alonso. So
Correct.
I mean, we're not even comparing apples to apples.
And he's 20 points below Alonso. Like it's not even comparable.
But think about what you just said. That's naturally going to happen.
I'm literally saying that if Alonso has those same 40 more at bats, he's going to generate 15 more hits.
We don't know that. We don't know that
based off his average.
But we don't know that. That's the point. If Gunner's average is going to go down because he's at bat more than everybody else on the team,
because he's not getting his hits and his at bats. I could look. I'm not here to try to tear down Gunner. I'm just saying I need him to actually step up to the plate and become the superstar that this team needs. That's all I'm saying.
I just think you're looking at it the wrong way. That's all I'm saying. If I'm at bat more than everybody else, yes, my average is going to go down. That's naturally just how law of averages work. That's like if you only took 5 threes and I took 20 and you make 50% of your threes, I mean 6 threes and I took 20 and I make 12 of 20 and you make 3 of 6, you shooting 50% from the field, but you only took 6 threes. I took 20 of them. Like it's not the same. It's not. That's all I'm saying. We can all manipulate numbers if we look at it the wrong way. That's like you just said a second ago. Everybody not playing every day, so yeah, that number's going to look more glowingly when they get an opportunity. Good, but if you had to go out there and grind every day, play back to backs, and you playing whether you feel good or you don't, it's going to take a toll on you, and your numbers going to be impacted by that. Anyway, that's baseball. We'll keep an eye on it. Let's move over to the NFL. Training camp is about to be starting up. We started our preseason previews a couple weeks ago. But before we get into that, let's take a look at some of the things that are happening around the league. Man, it's very interesting to me that coming off of this past season, and I'm gonna point this first to you, Calvin, because we have Ravens fans on the panel, and Calvin, of course, Justin, you can of course chime in, but I find it odd. I think the Ravens signed a center earlier this week, didn't they? Or latter part of last week. A lot of people were like, oh, they made a move. Nobody had no information on the guy, nothing to go off of it, say whether he was good or bad. But they did make an acquisition that hopefully beefs up that portion of the team. But I find it odd that if you look at this roster and what the Ravens have done in the offseason to actually support Lamar Jackson, I think the expectations have actually gone further up than they were last year with less weapons, less offensive line support, less blocking support, what about what the Ravens did in the offseason is making people be even higher on the Ravens and what their offense is going to be able to do in 2026, other than a new offensive coordinator. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Calvin, are you getting some inside information that possibly I'm not aware of?
I'd argue the offensive line is better than last year, and that's when you said just going off of your statement.
You gotta be better than Falele, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That
he was a Pro Bowler.
I think the offensive line was better. Now, in regards to the center that they signed, now I don't completely understand the narrative because they said he's a bigger center. He was bigger than Linderbaum, but he's coming off of Achilles injury. I don't know at what point last year, but at some point towards Achilles, and then they're expecting him to be better this year. Or I'm sorry, be ready for this year. But I think with regards to Ravens, the expectation on the defensive side is that we have a defensive head coach that we've seen make defensive players better in his scheme. We saw Elway go from 0 sacks to 10 sacks. We saw the defense in LA last year and how great they were playing against top offenses. And we saw the adjustments made. And I think that's where you see the expectations for the Ravens is through the defense. But offensively, it's just Lamar. It's Lamar makes everyone better. It's Lamar's the engine behind his offense, and with the better offensive line, we should see a better Lamar. I think that's where the overall scheme is. But if you remember, we're talking about last year, how this team had the most talent in the NFL last year when they had Hopkins and Jair Alexander and all those guys, and now you have none of those guys, but you have a better defensive mind. Hopefully, you can see a Malachi Starks take the next step. You can see a Mike Green take the next step, especially with Trey Hendrickson across from him. So I think it's the defense that we're expecting more from, and the offense is basically the same. It's Lamar will find a way, especially this year when you have Zay and Prey, is what they're saying now. That's it. That's your receiving core. So
I set you up talking offense and you go to the defense. So basically you're saying I'm correct. There is no reason for this team to be lauded as these heavy expectations. Okay, thank you. Justin?
Outside of Lamar.
I was honestly about to ask what was the question again. When it comes to the Ravens, eventually this Lamar Jackson experiment, it needs a jolt of fresh air. It needs something. But they just refuse to. No, not a new team.
Got a new coach.
Hopefully that this offensive coordinator can unlock certain things. And I know you said kind of don't bring up the coordinator, but that's kind of all they have. That's what they went out to get. You didn't re-sign Likely, so you don't have a dynamic tight end. Hopefully Henry can give you what he's been giving you. So there's no reason to kind of doubt that. But eventually he's going to hit a wall. But hopefully he can push that wall back, a season or two. You let go of your fullback, so you kind of lose that advantage that you had over the whole entire league. Actually a hard-nosed fullback. You let that go. So now it's like, okay, we have to be creative and things of that nature. Okay, cool. Let's see if this guy can create situations where guys can get open, because you need to get guys open, because your team that you have, they don't kind of have that space when it comes to getting open. And and then they have to rely on Lamar to extend plays, which then gets guys open. I love Zay Flowers, but there's questions about, is he really a number one or not? He plays like a number one. I'm not knocking his stats. Stats are his stats, but there's still questions. When you go through, hey, you know what? Name me the top 10 wide receivers. Guess who don't come on that list? It's Zay Flowers. And it's no shot, it's no knock. It's just you will go through 10 before you get to him. So it's just what do you do? And then you talk about the offensive line. You upgrade some spots. Hopefully you draft the guy, the Samoan guy that you draft. Hopefully he makes do. But then you get a center that's shaky, and they kind of like. They didn't really fully address the center situation. It's like, okay, we're gonna take care of it. But did you really take care of it? I don't. It's questions, and the sad thing is, had this been any other quarterback that's not ranked number 69, then it's like, y'all probably would have been fell on your face a long time ago, when you would have to physically address a lot of things and bring in real talent. Y'all kind of taking advantage of the greatness that is Lamar Jackson. Because he can improvise and do all these things to kick the can down the road, but eventually get the man some help. Get this man a premier guys. Re-sign guys that has a great great future. You should never let Likely get out your building, but you did for Andrews, who's on his way out. Just by age and attrition and things of that nature. So it's like, it's frustrating. It's frustrating, and I'm not even a true fan. It's frustrating because I know that Lamar has to deal with that. And he shouldn't have to deal with none of that stuff.
I agree 1,000% with everything you said. And I echo what you said, because it's all true. And it's what I've been saying all off season. Nobody want to hear it from me, because it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a Ravens fan who's also a realist, who looks at things and say, hey, guys, what have you actually done to make this offense better? Nothing. You can't name me one move in the offseason that was done to make this offense better.
The offensive line isn't better? We just had that conversation.
No, it's not better.
We'll disagree there.
I mean, what's better about it?
Falele's not here.
Okay, what else?
That's better. That's addition by subtraction right there.
You lost a center. So who's your center? Name him.
I mean, I don't like the argument because the Linderbaum wasn't worth the money.
But who's your center? Name him.
I have training camp to figure out who my center is. I have 3 of them in the building.
Ethan.
That's all I'm saying.
Hochick.
That's all I'm saying, Calvin. I'm not trying to fight. I'm just saying you're saying the team is better.
I don't agree with the argument that we have to find or we have to draft whoever the best center is. I'm sorry, we have to draft a center regardless of how good or bad we think he is because we need one. We can't go out here and trade for one. We can't sign a free agent. We have to go get the best one in the draft. We have to go get the best one in free agent. The best one in free agency was the one we let go because there was a poor free agency class. I don't believe in overpaying him to keep him, and I don't think he was a great center based on what we've seen in the last 2 years when he doesn't have guard play. We had that whole conversation. I'm not overpaying Linderbaum. So
who's your guards?
I think Simpson and Nwane.
And you think that we're good now? I
think that's an improvement over last year.
So this is my
and they were terrible last year.
I asked you one question: how are we better than last year? And you said
the guard play. I said
the guard play. No,
I said interior alignment. Interior alignment is better.
All right, you said Falele was gone. I said good. All right, that's fine. But they've made no significant upgrades to this team. My point is not about this. My point is they're going to heap these expectations on Lamar Jackson to make a miracle happen, and I think it's unfair to him. The organization has not done him any favors. That is my issue. This is not a negative on Lamar. This is not a negative. I'm trying to get ahead of this narrative that Ravens fans will regurgitate, like yourself, who will go into this season with these lofty expectations, who will put this mirage out there to the general public to consume, that this team is built for the Super Bowl, that we should be winning playoff games, that we should be winning 13, 14, 15 games, and we should be doing all this stuff. When if you be real with yourself and you look at this offense, that team is not built to win nothing. Yeah, you can look at the defense. You can look at the defense because that's what you did and say, oh, yeah, we can stop people. How many years have we had in Baltimore? Tremendous defenses. I mean, fantastic defenses. But if the offense can't put points on the board in key moments, if they turn the football over and your quarterback is getting banged up because he's taking too many hits because the offensive line can't protect, if you have no fullback no more, so you change your offense, we'll find out. If the offense comes out and is innovative and they come out and playing way different style than we've seen, what you say? I'm not going to give him credit.
Let me ask you this question. We're going to go through this at some point in the next couple of weeks. Do you have one in the division? Just yes or no? You don't have to go into.
No.
Okay.
I'm being honest. Like
that's fine. That's all. It was yes no. We're going to get into it later. I just want a yes or no.
I gave it to you, but I'm going to tell you why. We lost the division last year with Lamar. With better offensive weapons.
I don't think they were better offensive weapons when they were injured, but okay.
Who wasn't there when you had opportunity
Likely
to do
wasn't
what you
there.
need to do?
Bateman wasn't there.
Likely caught the pass to go down to force the game in Pittsburgh.
I'm talking about throughout the season. I don't think losing in Pittsburgh you didn't make the playoffs, but you could have won one of the 7 other games that you lost throughout the year, and that game would not have meant that much, or not have meant as much.
Calvin, everything was on the line. Lamar was there.
Everything was on the line, and we lost because of a missed kick.
But it shouldn't have come down to that. That's the point. It shouldn't. It's like Aaron Rodgers. Like, come on. Anyway, no, I'm not impressed. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to the American people who are watching us and convince them that just because the calendar has changed, ain't nothing changed with this team. Let's be real. You had D-Hop last year. You don't have D-Hop this year. You didn't do nothing with him when you had him last year.
He didn't do nothing last year, yeah. So you're right.
But now you got Zay and Bateman. We know Bateman going to get hurt. It's not a matter of when. It's if. It's when. So, you setting yourself up for failure. That's all I'm saying. Do more to build a team where if one thing or two things happen, you're not out here philandering and dying. And you're not all Lamar all the time. I know you're getting defensive, but I'm just being real with you, man. Like, we are Ravens fans. Don't we want what's
I've never got defensive. I've never got defensive. I gave you my opinion, and I said the offense was Lamar reliant. I said that. So you're not telling me anything I didn't say. I just disagree with you in regards to the offensive line. I think the offensive line is better than it was last year. Specifically, yes.
Right. I hope you're right.
And that's the only improvement on the offense, in my opinion, unless you're counting you want to count Declan Doyle, but no, that's still wait and see because this is his first time calling plays, even though he's had the tutelage of some of the greater offensive coordinators in the league.
Look, I really hope whatever offense they instill is works. That's all. Whatever. I mean, I've seen what Caleb Williams was able to do in Chicago, but a lot of that was miracles. You know what I mean? I don't want to rely on no miracles. I want to rely on steady offense. So let's hope for the best. Let's move on to our season preview. Let's start with the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts in the offseason. Look, man, it was we know the story of the quarterback play in Indy. It got so bad last year, they had to go out and get Philip Rivers off the couch, brought him off. He was been out of the league for several years. You bring Philip Rivers back to play quarterback for a professional NFL team in the Colts, and he wasn't bad. He wasn't terrible. I think he even won a game. But in the offseason, they lost Michael Pittman Jr., probably their best receiver on the team. So that's a major loss for the organization. That's going to be difficult to replace. You lost corner Kenny Moore. Keddy Pay is out of there. Keddy Pay, I think he's in. Where did he go? Someone picked him up and paid him a little bit of money too. Might have been Vegas, be honest with you. So that's a big loss for them. So it's going to be interesting what they're able to do. In the offseason, they went out and they tried to replace those players. You went out and you spent money on also rans, guys who they were just trying to get rid of, like Akeem Gaither, who ain't really done nothing in years. He's nothing. Nick Westbrook, come on, get out of here. Michael Clemens, nothing. So this team, to me, they have no big outlook. They have no bright future. And the quarterback is still a question. We know all the story about, tapping your helmet on the side of the head, saying you went out the game. It's been well documented. Did they do anything in the draft that makes you feel like this team is on the verge of doing anything great? No. But Daniel Jones will be back. Let's see if he's healthy. He tore his Achilles year before last, kind of like. So it's unclear if he'll be able to come back at all. So who will play? We don't know. It's just not looking good. You're Jonathan Taylor or bust. So any thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts? I'm going to start with you, Justin. You're muted.
And that was their win-loss for the second half of the season. They got muted. That's what happened to them too. And I think they stuck between a full season. They had great strides in the first half, and then the second half they completely bottomed out. They didn't win the game in the second half. So who's the real Colts? I guess that's the question they need to ask themselves. Do you kick the tires with Anthony Richardson one more time? Maybe. We know that JT is heavily featured, and he's going to be heavily featured again. Can he perform like that yet again? That is tough, man. And once running backs start to get a certain amount of carries, they can hit the wall fast. Like I said, not everyone's Derrick Henry. There's a lot of more. There's plenty more Joe Mixons than it is Derrick Henrys, and Joe Mixon is now no longer in the league. It's that kind of thing. So, I'm not wishing that for JT. It's just that they got an uphill battle to try to figure out who's the real team. But if Daniel Jones can't come back, and you're saying that he's not going to be healthy by week 1, then I guess you got no choice but to go Anthony Richardson and see if it's his turn again. Hopefully, the benching and the the following and hearing all the negative reports and all those things and realizing that, your time is coming to an end. Hopefully that matured them. But it might not have. But they just have to see. They in a semi-tough division, but there's no way Houston should have made the playoffs last year. You know what I'm saying? If they win 2 to 3 more games in which they should not have lost 6, 7 straight, they should have been the ones in the playoffs. So I think you don't try to reinvent the wheel for this team. You just hope that you get better quarterback play, and rely heavily on Jonathan Taylor and see if he can do it again. They had one of the best offensive lines. There's no reason for me not to think that they're going to have a similar type of season when it comes to running the ball. Put some points on the board, let the defense do what it needs to do, and hopefully you don't bottom out. If they don't do that, then they should be in the playoffs.
No quarterback. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Calvin.
Completely agree. I think they have the potential to be the worst team in that division, even worse than Tennessee. They have the worst quarterback room in the division. We know Daniel Jones is not starting the season. You had no faith in Anthony Richardson, yet you still decided to bring him back. And he knows he's a lame duck quarterback who won't be in Indianapolis last year. He has no faith in that organization. They did nothing to make that offense better. They let go of their best pass catcher. And why is that? I mean, you still have Jonathan Taylor, like you said, but how many touches is he going to get? How many touches does he need to make this offense decent?
That pass catcher, it wasn't like he wasn't.
You want to say it's Alec Pierce? Is that what you
Alec Pierce gone too?
I thought he was still there.
I think he gone.
I just wasn't big on Pittman.
No, I don't see how you take weapons away and say that you have a quarterback that's come back off an injury and you think you've gotten better. I just don't see that. And they're still going to have a tougher schedule than Tennessee. I think Tennessee's going to be able to win a couple more ball games. I think it's time for Indianapolis to kind of start over. But like you said, Jonathan Taylor will get you a couple wins, but nowhere needed to where you thought you were going last year. So I'm not high on the Colts at all this year.
Yeah, I'm not high. And I like Tyler Warren last year, the tight end. He was a nice
no
addition.
Quarterback, though.
Yeah. We'll see. So they did re-sign Alec Pierce, so he's probably going to be that number one now. Interesting. That should be interesting because he was pretty good last year. He was pretty good. So maybe that's why they felt confident in letting Michael Pittman Jr. go. But we'll see. No quarterback. That's the problem. Next up, we're going to keep this preview going with the New Orleans Saints. The Saints were an interesting case last year down in that NFC South. I thought that the quarterback Tyler Show came out there and he played well. I thought he was coming on late in the season. He was kind of a spoiler. I mean, I think they beat some teams that was trying to make get some seeding in the playoffs. They actually played well. That Derek Carr era needed to end. They needed to come in, put the rookie in there and let him do what he do. And I thought he played well, man. He will be good coming into his sophomore season. Let's see if he's able to take that next step and get this organization where they need to be. They did lose Taysom Hill. I was shocked that they let him go. He's been a mainstay for them for several years here. But they did re-sign running back Alvin Kamara. Yep. They re-signed Alvin Kamara, so they brought him back in the fold. Even though his usage rate has kind of been taking a dip here lately, I thought losing Demario Davis in the offseason, who was a leader on that defense, that might play a role. We'll see if Jonathan Bullard getting up out of there will impact that defense. They lost some defensive stalwarts that we have to keep an eye on. But they did draft Jordan Tyson early in that draft last year. And he, if you watched him in college, he was good. He was a standout. You went out and got you a Travis Etienne to pair with him with Alvin Kamara for that 1-2 punch that might make this team pretty dangerous. Justin, I'll start with you. No, Calvin, it's your turn. Let's start with you. What's your thoughts on New Orleans Saints?
I think this is the potential to be a Tyler Show year and show that he's actually a starting quarterback in this league. They quietly have a decent offense. So you have Alvin Kamara and the Travis Etienne. You can run the ball more than you would normally can with both of those backs. You added Tyson to Chris Olave, someone I've been high on, but he just had so many injury concerns. And you play in a relatively, I don't want to say easy division, but the division's up for grabs. And it seems like it always comes down to a couple division games late. Last year, we thought Tampa Bay had the division in stranglehold, ends up being Carolina in the playoffs. I think New Orleans, that could be New Orleans this year. And if you can get a home game in front of that crowd, that's going to be that's tough. That's tough. And potentially Tyler Show can be a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes, keeps you in ball games, and then you run the ball with ETN and Kamara. They can be dangerous this year. I think they will surprise some people early on, and they will be fighting for that division late just because of how the divisions played the last couple of years.
I think adding Jordan Tyson to that receiver room is going to really help them because I thought Jawan Johnson, wow, solid last year. You said Chris Olave in and out of the lineup, but I think Jordan Tyson, everything we saw from him in college, if he's able to translate over to the NFL, they could be pretty explosive because he can get you the ball. Interesting. Justin.
I think New Orleans is going to be in a similar situation. I think the top 3 to 4 teams, the whole division is going to be within probably a game or two of each other. It's just going to be a tight division, and that's just what it is. And I think that everyone in the division is kind of used to that. But no one's going to look past the New Orleans Saints this year. And I think that's definitely happened last year. People was definitely say, all right, that's an easy win. Let's keep it moving, whatever the case. They're not going to sneak up on anybody. So they're going to be fully game plan, and let's see how they react to that. That's one thing. Second thing is, yes, I understand that the rivalry, they picked up a wide receiver. The running game is Travis Etienne had his best season of his career. We can see if he can duplicate that. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's good game planning. Maybe it was contract year. Who knows? But he definitely had one of his better seasons that he ever had. Definitely better than Jacksonville. All right, cool. Their defense this is probably what shocked me the most, that their defense was as good as it was last year. And we'll see if they can continue that this upcoming year. New Orleans, they're just like, I don't know. It's hard to place them amongst that division. But will they be the last one in the division? Yes, I think they're gonna be last one in the division yet again. That's the problem. I don't think they did enough to be better than Carolina. They don't have a T-Mac on that team. I don't think they didn't do enough to be better than Tampa, and they didn't do enough to be better than Atlanta. There's no Bijan here. So I just think overall they did better. They're going to be more competitive. They won't sneak up on nobody, so they're going to catch a little bit more L's because of that, and then they're going to end up still in 4th place, looking up. They don't have a game changer on that team. When they get a game changer, then things will be on the upside.
4th place, looking up.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. All right, next up, the Cleveland Browns. So I think this is one of the more interesting teams. And you asked me earlier, who's going to win the division, the NFC North? And I said, you think the Ravens are going to win the NFC North? And I said, no, I don't think the Ravens are going to win the NFC North. And I bring up Cleveland here because the last time I thought a team other than the Ravens would win the NFC North, I picked the Cleveland Browns. And I'm not doing that this year. But the reason I picked the Cleveland Browns back then is because they had Myles Garrett, and then on the other side, they went out and got another playmaker who could rush the quarterback at a high level, and what's his name? Smith brothers. Used to play for the Ravens. He went to Green Bay. Darius Smith. They had 2 guys. Well, the Cleveland Browns just gave away Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams in the offseason. And one of the craziest offseason moves I've seen in a long time. This team just signed him to a long-term monster deal. What, last year? Year and a half? 2 seasons ago? It wasn't that long ago. And then in the offseason, they go out, you get Todd Monken as your new head coach. You lose Njoku. You lose, the best defensive player in the league. You lose Devin Bush, Shelby Harris, Cam Thomas. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Cam Robinson, Jerome Ford. Like a clean house. I don't know if Monken just looked at the roster and said, hey, We need to cut all this down, and we starting from the bottom. We don't want no expectations. We don't want nothing holding over Shador's head. I don't even know if Shador's a starting quarterback. We don't know. It's another open. It might just be another training camp where he's battling with these also rans that he was battling against last year, or they just might give Deshaun Watson the job because Deshaun is back and he's healthy, and they paying him a lot of money, even though he took a pay cut. This team is one of the more interesting teams to watch. They still have some playmakers on defense, but you got to ask yourself, were these players as good as we thought they were, or did Myles Garrett just make them that good? So losing Myles, this might be a whole completely different defense now. Man, I'm very interested in this. I'll start with you, Calvin. What's your thoughts?
Look, I don't know if Monken is going to be there to see success from Cleveland the way they got to rebuild this thing. They've been rebuilding it for damn near 25 years and they haven't gotten it right yet. But this team has the potential to be the worst team in the AFC, I think. With the division that they play in, with who's your starting quarterback, with there being Deshaun Watson starting quarterback talks. The only bright spot is what for this team? Is there a bright spot? It used to be Myles Garrett. It used to be saying, look, he's going to give us all he has. He's going to put on a great defensive performance. Now he may be an MVP conversation because he's actually going to win some games out there in LA. I don't expect much from this Cleveland Browns team. Maybe some surprises offensively from the Monken system. We know his pro style offense from years in Baltimore, but he doesn't have the quarterback to really utilize that system unless you're going to tell me Deshaun Watson's turning back the clock or Shador Sanders is really going to flourish under the system.
And who's he throwing to?
I mean, maybe they got tryouts. Maybe one of us we can go out there and at least make a couple $100,000 a game. But I don't know what the future holds for this team, but it doesn't hold a lot of wins. I do not see a lot of wins for this team. Easily the worst team in the AFC North, in my opinion.
Justin?
Who's the quarterback for the New York Jets?
Gino?
They're going to have the worst season in this season. So when you say the worst team in the AFC, I think of some of the teams in the AFC. Well, that being said, Deshaun is going to win this race because if you're basing it off of practice, Deshaun is probably going to look like a damn superstar in practice, especially over Shador, right? So like that's not even like that hard of a thing to fathom, right? So Deshaun is just started pencil him in. How long does he last? That's the question. If you're telling me that Deshaun Watson can play majority of the season, then they're going to win some games because I think he still can win games.
Throwing to who?
No, it don't matter. It don't matter.
Okay.
He'll find. I still believe in him that much to make Jared Judy can make some plays or something like that. And Jared Judy was a Pro Bowler. Like that's not.
He's still there.
He's still there.
He dropped a lot of balls last year.
He ain't feel like playing. You know what I'm saying? So
he won't feel like playing this year.
that contract extension is kicking in. So he want to get his name back out there. So that, and I think Deshaun can make players better. I still think he has that. Do I have any proof of that? I know he's been gone for a while, so he's finally healthy. There's not that much expectations around Cleveland. The main defender is gone, and Myles Garrett. Shout out to Jared first. I ain't forget about you. You was up and coming at the Rams.
I don't know why I was thinking his name was Byron Young or something. I don't know what I was thinking his name
absolutely
was.
Absolutely not.
Nah, he didn't.
You still that dude. And you just got to make a name for yourself, my guy. Like you got to reclaim your name. And hopefully you can do that.
You got to be Myles Garrett again.
He ain't got to be Myles Garrett, but he could be a Pro Bowler and borderline All Pro, and that's enough. There is only one Myles Garrett, so you don't have to be that guy, but just make plays, make some things happen. So, it's just how long does Deshaun stay healthy? And there's the moment that he's out. I hate the fact that Shador will have to inherit this team. That's what I don't want. just stay healthy long enough where as though we can go into the next season, and then y'all maybe can part ways after that. Who knows? But at the end of the day, this team needs more help. Obviously, it's going to be one of the worst teams, and that's why you get rid of Myles Garrett. You do that. You flip that so you can get more draft picks, more incentives, and things of that nature, so you can be better moving forward. I agree with Calvin. I don't think Monk's going to be here long enough to see that though, and that's unfortunate. He can go back to being offensive coordinator somewhere else.
And did they lose the defensive coordinator?
Yeah, they lost Jim Schwartz.
Did he get picked up by anybody?
That I don't know. I know he didn't go back there because he didn't get the head coaching job. Yeah,
interesting. I thought it was rumors that he was going to leave, but I didn't know if he for sure did it or not. Okay, interesting. Yeah. And the final team
didn't go anywhere.
He ain't going nowhere. The final team for tonight, and then we'll wrap things up, is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs coming off of a down year, struggled all throughout the season. Patrick Mahomes running for his life until he couldn't run no more. The question is, will Mahomes start the season? Will he come in a couple games into the season? We don't know. We don't know. Look, the question around this team has really been happening for the past few seasons. If people want to be honest, the Chiefs have been holding on by a thread, pulling out miracles, last-second wins, all that kind of stuff. So the inevitable was finally going to happen. And when Mahomes went down with that ACL in week 15, that's week 15, guys. I know everybody looks at him like he's invincible, but the likelihood of him starting this season healthy, it's not good. So we're looking at what, first 4 weeks maybe? Does he come back week 6? Is there a bye early? I don't know. I haven't studied it hard enough to look at it, but Justin Fields is now up the bat. Mm-hmm. So if you start in the season with Justin Fields, they did go out in the offseason and trade for Kenneth Walker for the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. Yeah. So maybe they'll go more of a running attack, maybe to try to offset and get Fields out on the move in that Andy Reid offense. Let's see if coaching is Fields' issue. If Fields has never had the coaching that really bring out the best in him. We know what his issues were early in Chicago. He was in Pittsburgh, who doesn't have a great offensive system either. He went to New York. So if now you're with Big Red, if he can't get the best out of you, this might be it for Justin Fields. So let's be honest. You got an opportunity to show the league what you got. You got Kenneth Walker. The Chiefs went out in the offseason. They re-signed Ladarius Sneed, went and got him. Aloy Gilman from the Ravens. Mm-hmm. He's coming in. So they made some moves. But they lost Pacheco. They lost Hunt. They rebuilt that backfield completely in the offseason. And we're going to see if this team is able to just keep on chugging along. They traded away Trent McDuffie. Jalen Watson is no longer there. Those guys were tremendous players for the Chiefs. But somehow, some way, this team will find a way because they always act like the Ravens. As long as we got Mahomes, we good. As long as we got Lamar, we good. But if Mahomes ain't there, it's going to be questionable. Justin, your thoughts on the Chiefs?
Patrick Mahomes will be ready week 1. That's my first thought. My second thought right after that is what was probably the one thing that they needed other than, more defensive ability? No, they needed a running game. That's what they needed. And that's just as simple as that. Isaiah Pacheco, yes, my man will stomp the ground 45 times for 2 yards. That's what he does. Hunt is, he just, that's pretty much it for him. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a playmaker. You got a playmaker now. And that's what it's about. It's about Kenneth Walker, and the fact that they went to get someone of that stature. He's one of the best running backs in the league for a reason. So you pair that up with a Patrick Mahomes. That means Patrick ain't got to do everything. That means you can have a play action. Do you mean to tell me you got Xavier Worthy on a play action? Rasheed Rice on a play action? You know what I'm saying? Thornton on a play action, that deep threat guy. Like this is they didn't have a play action. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole aspect of Andy Reid, which he loves to use running backs in multiple ways. He just couldn't. they just didn't have a good enough running game. So you add a premier running. I want to say we got to see how it plays out. But I think above average running game now to go with Patrick Mahomes with that offense. This is now more Andy Reid style of playing football, and we can see what happens with that. Will they skyrocket to number one in the division? Probably not. Will they be like top two? I can see that. You know what I'm saying? So not. This is the fact that we talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, and this is the second time we did this. So the bottom
Second
eight,
third,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is a disgrace for Kansas City. So I expect them to go back to glory status, whatever that looks like, at least playoff status, and we're gonna see what happens for that. Shout out to Travis. Travis he's a new man. Once you get married and settle down, you turn into a new man. So Travis is going to turn back at least 1 year of his career. At least 1 year. Shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Come on, man. Bring it home.
So you saying marriage makes you younger?
Yeah, it rejuvenates you for that first year.
Okay. That's right. Yeah, y'all know y'all
good job. Appreciate you cleaning that up. I will say this about the Kansas City. They did redo that cornerback room. They lost their starting corners to the Rams. They re-signed Snead, like you said, and they drafted Delane, the kid out of LSU. And I agree with everything you guys said. I will also say, do we have a resolution to the Rashee Rice thing? I mean, we know he's getting suspended. Do we know for how long? So you're down one weapon and possibly you're starting quarterback for the first 4 or 5 games. I don't know if this team can dig out of that hole. I think this is Travis Kelce's last year. I think Mahomes wants to play because he knows this is Kelce's last year. I can see this team not making the playoffs. I think Denver can win this division. I think the Chargers can be the second seed in the division. I think the Raiders can give them a fight for the 3 seed, especially with no Mahomes for 4 or 5 weeks. So I'm not expecting much from this team until you tell me Mahomes is healthy. You tell me he's healthy and he's ready to go week 1, I'll reconsider. But until then, all I'm thinking is there's no Rashee Rice, and there's possibly no Patrick Mahomes week 1. And that's the same team that we had last year, and where did they finish? So why should I expect anything else?
I agree. I don't have any high hopes for this Chiefs team, and that's not the hater in me because I'm a Ravens fan. It's just the realist, the same way I said about the Ravens. If you don't look, now, I thought they did a better job replacing some of the things that they needed, for sure. They made upgrades, but I think the division has caught up. I think the Denver Broncos, the Chargers, even the Raiders made some significant moves. I don't think they're going to be better than the Chiefs, but I just think that what the Broncos did, and we'll talk about them in the coming weeks, and had Bo Nix not gotten hurt, we'll see. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just think that the Chiefs got a long way back to getting back where they used to be. And Chris Jones ain't getting younger. I need to see more from that defensive line because he took a lot of plays off last year. We'll see if he's able to get bounced back. That's it for our season preview for this week. But next week, we'll try to catch up. We did 6 tonight. And we'll do 6 next week. And that put us back on track because we were planning, if we did it for a week, we'd have been good. So we didn't do anything last week. So we did 6 tonight. We'll do 6 next week to catch up completely. Anything else before we get out of here? Well, that was what? No, we didn't do 6. We did 4.
We did 4, yeah.
We did 4. We'll do 8 next week and catch up. The reason why I had the Washington Commanders and the New York Giants. But I had graphics for them, and then I took them off because I couldn't use my daggone thing. So
that'd been perfect based off Harbaugh's speech.
We can go with the Giants now if y'all want. Y'all got time? Let's just do it next week. We'll go do it next week. Do a full. I'll be back in the studio, and we can get back to the graphics and all that stuff, and do the NBA and give Justin a little bit more time to do it. Huh?
We got a studio.
In my studio, damn it.
SummerSlam next week too. So.
Yeah, SummerSlam is next week. No, April 1st. Yeah, that's the next week. Golly. Yeah. So I'm currently out in Vegas. If you all see the water show going on at the Bellagio.
I wasn't sure where the camera was going.
Y'all see it?
Yeah, we see the goddamn water, yo. All right, yo, like it's a Google photo, yo.
I'm letting the American people see it.
We can search this, yo. It's nothing.
So It's only 7 o'clock out here, so I'm going to go dine. I know it's 11 o'clock on the East Coast, so I'm trying to be cognizant of you all's time. But I appreciate everyone.
You're hungry, I understand.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
What you lying to the people for? Like, they don't
Sorry,
believe.
man. My clock is completely different. You know how it is. Like, woke up like 4 o'clock in the morning, like, oh, damn, it's 7 o'clock on the East Coast. Went back to sleep. Woke up like 7, like, damn, it feel like it's late. It's only 7. Like, it's 11 o'clock at home. Like, I'm not there yet. We'll get there. I ain't been out here in a little bit. So just getting back on track. Going to enjoy my this is our birthday weekend, Calvin. Big Calvin.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'll be a changed man next week.
Yeah, man.
My whole perspective going
We
change.
don't need to belabor on the point. It is what it is. Thank God for another year. Thank God for another year. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Thank Calvin and Justin for being so flexible with the time and the technical difficulties. Look, man, y'all know I try not to be on the road doing these shows. If I can, all possible, I try to be home. But thank you all and appreciate you. Justin, any final words? Look like you got yourself ready to say something.
Hopefully, LeBron James make a decision. Jesus Christ.
Something else, boy. We'll be back next week for another edition of Get Off the Damn Fence. For Calvin, Justin, I'm Larry. Have a good night at home.